How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews back with new brewery time, old beer time, my kind of beer time in the form of Roundabout Brewing. It is their Heine's Good Cheer. This be a barrel-aged blended old ale from 2017. 10.3% alcohol by volume, and it comes courtesy of my boy Dan, aka Mr. Disco Pie. Where did I put my opener? He sent off a bunch of beers from Pittsburgh, proper, and I'm not gonna lie to you. This is the one I'm looking forward to the most. Because I love old ale, I love old beer, and there's something about this beer, the label, the whole nine of it, just gets me all hot and bothered. It's called Heine's Good Cheer. What the hell? This thing was made for me to be drinking. So yeah, hopefully it's gonna jump out of this bottle. So my biggest worry about this beer might be sideways. Not that I heard anything about the beer, I mean, but you're talking about an old ale. Also, if they're doing it traditionally, it could have been open fermented or nothing super, not being like just super clean yeast. Barrel aging adds that. And something about how ghetto the label is makes me think the brewery might be a little bit kind of loose and fast. I don't know. All these assumptions, but that looks all the part of an old ale. Rich, kind of doo-doo water brown, murky, can't see through it. Malted malt ball colored head, what there is of it is there. I like so far. Let's get a nose. Oh my God, that smells so good. Oh, it smells so good. It smells so good. It just does. So, herbal hops, old school herbal hops. They're not really there, but you can kind of get that whiff of ghost stuff hops past. I shouldn't even mention that first. So the big thing about it is this kind of washed out, kind of caramel sugar daddy kind of vibe, which is my favorite thing when it comes to like English old ales and barley wines. And you're getting that here. There's really not much as far as any oxidation here, as far as I can tell, at least in the nose. So that's impressive. Maybe a little bit, because it could be marrying with those hops, give me a little bit of kind of herbal, dusty vibes. And then, it's that rich, watered down. It's not like full on like super aged Thomas Hardy Coonan level kind of sugar daddiness, but it's definitely eking in that direction. I'm not really getting much as far as spirit off of it. That could be melding well with the way the kind of old ale is kind of aging, but then again, it's a relatively low ABV old ale, 10%. But it smells really pretty. It smells like an old ale. An old ale. Who would have thunk it? Yeah, I like how it smells. I want to drink it. We're diving in. Cheers. Wow. That does not suck. It's way more vibrant in the taste. It's actually hot. You're talking about a 3, potentially 4-year-old. I'm assuming these beers are typically made during Christmas time, but sometimes they are made around like, the new year, like January, February, but more often than not, it's a October, November, December affair. So if that's the case, this is more like 3 years old than 4 years, even though it's 2017 to 2021. But it's hot. It's hot, and I don't mind it. It's not like a hot, like it's like going to burn the back of my throat, but I was surprised, you know what I mean, at the heat that came off it with being a relatively low ABV old ale. So what I'm saying is, it definitely has a bourbon characteristic to it. Spirit characteristic. It's got to be, because I don't even know if it's bourbon. I'm assuming it's bourbon, but it could be something else. But there has to be a spirit involved. When they said barrel aged, you don't know. You can just be like a neutral oak barrel or something like that. But with it only being 10.3%, being at least minimum 3 years old and having that poppy heat on it, there has to be a spirit involved here. I don't know why I'm getting fixated on that, because it's not a big issue. Actually, I kind of find it as a positive. It lets you know you're drinking something big, and it's not like scratchy or birdy, but it just has heat to it. But there's this rich. So in the progression of when I'm excited when I start jumping all over the place. The progression of barley wine old ale is burnt brown sugar. From there, it can veer a couple different directions, molasses, stuff like that. But typically, more often than not, you start to eke towards like a Werther's original butterscotch thing, then sugar daddy, then Raisinets. That's like that's the life cycle of a delicious English barley wine for me. And this is morphing from that Butterscotch Werther's original into the Sugar Daddy. It's more leaning into the Sugar Daddy than the Werther's original right now, but you could still get a little bit of that kind of soft butterscotch. And I'm talking about like off flavor, like negative off flavor butterscotch. I'm talking about delicious, fantastical kind of butterscotch. And that's kind of where this beer sits for me. And it's beautiful, and I love it. And I'm really glad you sent this off, Dan. He knows what I like. Dan knows what I like. Yeah. Appropriate mouthfeel. Not thick, not thin. What it should be. A little bit of heat lets you know you're drinking something of oomph. I don't mind that. And just the way it's progressing, the way it's building, you do get that little bit of those tannic tea hops, those ghost of hops past. But with how rich and how decadent this is, leaning into that kind of Sugar Daddy area, without that tannic tea like kind of hop, I think this beer just gets too sweet on sweet on sweet, and it's such a beautiful balance between those two things, especially with this age on it. I think this is fantastic. Listen, barrel aged old ale, 3 years and change old from a small brewery. You're kind of ghetto label named has the word Heini in it. Listen, you're checking all the boxes that dude enjoys. So the chances of me going into this beer and liking it are pretty large. But I also think that's kind of a knock for the beers sometimes, because I expect so much from them. This beer I'm gonna hold to a little bit higher standard because it's something I covet so much as far as style and as far as whatnot. And it not only did it execute to the point where I'm actually gaga over the beer, and I think that's a testament, man. Really tasty for a brewery I've never heard about. I've never heard about I've heard about them, but I've never had anything from them before. It's delicious. It's a perfectly beautiful representation of an old ale style that I believe has got kick-started in the aging process from the barrel aging. That's all it is. It's not like adding this huge spirit character to it. But what it does is it takes a beer that should be aged and gets it quicker to that aging point where it's tasty and beautiful. And they did a pretty damn good job of it. I love this beer. Thank you very much, Dan. So let's talk about it. Is this one of the better old ale / English barley wines I've had as of late? Yes. Is it Mount Rushmore status? Probably should be. I mean, there's so many good ones. I might keep it out only because, and when I say there's so many good ones, there's so many bad ones too. But we're talking about some of the barley wine that I've had from Revolution, and then some of the Lees that I've had, some of the aged old stock stuff like that. If this beer is not on the Mount Rushmore status of currently delicious old ales, barley wines that I've had as of late, it's only because I've had some killer fucking bangers as of late, as opposed to this beer not being worthy of being up there. Value availability, no idea. Dan, you're gonna have to let us know what. I assume you bought this from the brewery when it was released, I would guess, and leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like this shelf up here, the Hardys and the fucking old stocks and I feel like old ale, English barley wine, Kunin, fucking Revolution Brewing, all that stuff. If you dig those beers, you'll dig this. If you dig those beers and you don't dig this, then there's something wrong with you. Let's put it that way. There you go. Thank you very much, Dan. Very cool. Down there, if you want to talk about this beer. Massive Beers, if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive, if you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. If you hopefully you guys are enjoying a good beer right now, an aged beer right now. Hope we'll see you next time. Cheers.